Okay, here we go. Initially, I'm going to actually have to change this power supply. I'm going to have to take pretty much everything out of it. That's because half the leads are going underneath the motherboard, so the motherboard's going to have to be at least slipped out one end. But I think it's just going to be easier to completely remove it and then pretty much start from scratch. So first things first, as usual, we take off this glass side panel and pop it to one side. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is basically pop out all these little bins. Get to them. Just remove all the power supply. Got when I can. It's a little bit tight. The automatic might as well take off. All the I/O connector. Front USB hub. Now the dodgy one. Oh gosh. Oh. That's all the power connectors off. So next thing is just remove screws like usual. And that way the motherboard will fall out. Well, it won't fall out, but I can take it out. Now again, I've left the CPU power supply connected up till I unhook the motherboard so I can move it out slightly and actually gain access to it correctly. So it's not so much a struggle trying to get under this rear fan here to actually get to the plugs. That should be all of the screws out, which it is. And now I can get in. Maybe I can swish it round. Hopefully, there's not much you can see right here until I can get the a bit easier. Pull this one else in here. An audio connector. There we go, that's the motherboard out now. As you can see, I literally had to take everything apart just to get this to switch on at one point. So now I'm going to have to flip it over and take two more screws out, up screws, one at the bottom, one at the top, and then I need to possibly unclip all the cable ties I've put in just to try and keep some of the wiring where I needed. It wasn't the best wiring job I've done at all, so pop it around that way. Yeah, I'm going to need to definitely snip all these off. So switch it back on once I've opened all this wiring up. Right, as you can see guys, I've separated all the wires off, so now all this lot here is completely separate from the rest of the machine. I am going to be changing this hard drive as well. There's going to be a slightly bigger one going in, so I might as well go and take that out right now. It'll make life a little bit easier when I'm sliding the power unit out. And that's easily done. So again, just 4 screws at the back. You've seen me put one of these in and out before in previous videos. So I'm just going to try and get it out, and I can get the brand new power supply in. There we go. That is the old power unit out. Now it still looks pretty much brand new, but it is definitely failing. Well, I'm hoping it's definitely failing. Unless I've bought a new power supply for nothing, but anyway. But this is a new power supply. I did end up going for another cheaper for now because I had some other stuff to get done this month, so I couldn't afford to spend something silly on a really good one, but that will end up happening next month, I hope. So I'm just going to unbox this now off camera. It won't take me 2 minutes. And yeah, same brand but higher capacity. This is a 750 watt instead of a 500 watt. As you can see, it's in tin cellophane or shrink wrap or whatever you want to bloody call it. So I'm just going to take that off and then fit the new one in. I'm just literally taking the twist tie wrap off so I can actually open up the wiring. And now time to be fitting the power supply. Exactly opposite to what I've just done, and you've seen me put a power supply in before. So I'm just going to line these screws up, get them all in place, and then tighten them up like I normally do. That's all 4 in, so I'm just going to tighten them all up now. Now I know that they'll all screw in. And there we go. So straight away I'm going to need to start putting all the wiring through where I need it to be. So first things first is the, seems to be caught up on a lot of things, is the CPU power supply, which is an 8-pin. which I'm going to be wanting to go down there. Seems a little bit shorter than last time. Hopefully it will fit in. I'll check that out anyway. But it may have to go in out through this time and just basically cable tie this one piece in so it pops out there. I think that's going to be easier, so let's get a cable tie in. Need to keep it in a kind of relatively decent part where I need it to be. So considering this is a cheaper case, there's still quite a lot of lugs and brackets to be able to cable tie stuff down with, which I think is quite decent. So there we go. I will sort that out later on. Right, this set of cable needs to go. I'm going to run this a little nicer this time, seeing as though I know it's going to be. Right, anyway, I'm going to switch off, run a lot of these cables, because it's no good. It's actually quite boring watching someone running cables. Well, I think it is, and you'll get the gist of it when I show you the end result. Right, okay, I've got most of the wiring set up back here. There's a couple that's still loose, but that's because that's the graphics card wire, which I'm still going to need to be able to adjust, the CPU power supply, which is just there. The reason why the other one was a little bit shorter, or I thought it was a bit shorter, is because I picked up the PCIe power supply rather than picking up the CPU power supply. So that's still a bit loose there, so it can be moved up and down to take off some of the slack. I haven't put the hard drive in it as yet either, but I'm going to want to get as much of the motherboard connections done now. So it's time to flip it over once I've got this through fully. So I've got to sort that out as well. And hopefully I've got these in the right spot. Nope, I've done it the wrong way around. So see, that's why I left it like that. And this is the wrong way round. So this one comes out. Says this one goes out through there instead, hence why it's so loose. I can readjust it later on. Still sure I put that through like that last time, but I'm not so bothered this time. That can go in that way, and then that means this one's the wrong way around through as well. I've got the wrong holes. So I just need to adjust this to this gap here and pull it through, and I can just resort that out later on. So here we are, back on the far side, and time to start putting everything together. That can be clipped back there for now, out of the way, because it's not exactly needed right now. And here comes the motherboard. So again, I'm going to plug in the power supply. I know you can't quite see what I'm doing. go. Turn it off that a little bit more. Oh, this is a very awkward thing to do. There we go. Finally, that's that clipped in. That is must be the hardest one to ever do. So whilst that's there, all these need to come above the motherboard on this side. All these daft little connections here. They're daft connections. They all serve a purpose. They're all above. And we just need to slot this into place. And again, this is going to be a board. I think I've got it. And there we go. So now, time to put screws back in the motherboard when it focuses. You know, camera's starting to bug me, but anyway. So I'm going to pop these screws back in. You know what I say every time. Get them in line. Don't fully tighten them till everything's in line. Oh joy! Here we go again. That's the first one in, not fully tightened. Since I've got one in, should be able to get each and every other one in quite easily now. Famous last words though. Not fully tight again. Once you get one or two in, it's easier to get the rest in. Just seems to be the first one that always seems to be a bit awkward. Again, I'm not putting the one in the bottom corner because I just can't seem to get into it, especially with all the leads that are there now. So now the 5 that are in and wanting are in, I'm just going to tighten them up so the board is now secure, and I'm going to be connecting the rest of the power cables up and the front I/O stuff. There we go. Right, so easy one first. 24 pin power connector, which is in and pushed through. Then the USB 3, and this power cable gets drawn out through. Now I'm going to be having 2 SATAs in this one now, so I'm going to add the 2 SATA cables now. That's why I didn't put the hard drive in just yet. So SATA 1. Oh, I've got to put the USB stuff in. I'll sort that out in a second. SATA 1, and then we have second SATA cable. They can go over there for now. I need to swish it round and connect some others. I know you can't particularly see this well. I need to change a couple of bits still on my setup. That needs to be audio, which is, you and I can't see what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm going to connect the rest of this front end up, neaten the wiring, then I'll show you what I've done with it, and hopefully then we should have boot up. I'm not going to add the GPU just yet because it's going to be a different GPU than what's going in, so I'm not going to run wires for a GPU that I don't really need to use. Okay, this is just a quick shot of how the cable management's gone inside the front parts of where the motherboard is, where the glass panel is. I've tried to make it as neat as possible just to make it look a bit nicer. Like I say, I've still got the back end to do now, which I'm going to flip over and adjust some of this stuff. I've still got the hard drives to put in. I'm going to be putting a larger hard drive in and a separate SSD. It'll be quite a small SSD, literally just for the operating system, and then I'm going to be putting a 2 terabyte hard drive in it as well, just so I've got extra storage for when I'm saving a couple of my videos that I've been doing, or if I've got projects. So I'm going to clear up this last little bit, put on the two, the SSD and the hard drive, and then hopefully I should be ready to put everything up so we can do a boot test. Fingers crossed anyway. And if it boot tests, I've then got to strip away the machine that I'm recording on, because there's extra memory to go in and a new graphics card, and hopefully then it should be up and running and set for doing things. Okay, this is the backside done now. It's still not the best job I've ever done, but it's adequate. So it's now time to put the rear panel back on, well, the side panel back on, should I say, and screw it back together. And there we go. That's that side done. So now all I've got to do is do a boot test, make sure it actually installs the operating system, because it's got 2 new hard drive, well, 2 new storage devices in, and from there, if that boots up, I'll show you the boot up, and then after that I will be tearing apart the machine I'm recording on right now, because I need the RAM and graphics card out of it. And once I've done that, once it's set up, I'll give you a view of it all working with a new graphics card and memory in. Well, so far so good. I have reinstalled Windows 10 on this machine with no glitches so far, so it looks like it was the power supply before it wouldn't even, well, it boot Windows 10 up, but within 2 minutes it would restart. So that's with, I mean, there's more USB things connected to this now than what there was before as well, so it's definitely a case of I can go ahead and do the upgrades on this. Yeah, I'll show you that once I'm done. As you can see, you can kind of see them. Well, the RGB working, but yeah, I'm going to just update this for now, and then later on I will sort out the upgrades that need to be done on this, because I've got a lot of messing around to do on this desk. Right, okay, just going to do a quick boot up on the system. Now it's finally up and running. I have to excuse the camera, it's not quite as good as what I thought it was in the daylight, but it's brilliant on night for some stupid reason. But yeah, the graphics card's now in, the memory's up and running, and the boot up perfectly fine. I should excuse the glare off of one of the screens. I'm just going to show you now there we go, the machine up and running with the graphics card in, 4 sticks of memory, extra hard drive, running 8 to 9 different USBs, so it's all up and running quite nicely. And yeah, so all done finally. It only took 3 attempts, and a new power supply, and a new motherboard, a new cooler, new graphics card. Well, anyway, finally done. Thanks for watching, guys.